I just got back from Wisconsin. It's a very strange thing. I've been in Wisconsin all morning.
What were you doing in Wisconsin?
There was a reunion of the Northern Federation of Temple Youth, of which I was the advisor from 1967 to 1971.
Oh, wow.
And these are the young people who are having a reunion at Asrui, Olin Sang Ruby Camp in Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. So they're all there, and I was there on Zoom, and we were doing the Shabbos service, and I was looking at all these old people who used to be 16. And I haven't changed. They, on the other hand, oh my God, the guys with the beards and then the women, okay.
I took my nifty trip to Israel in 1970.
A bunch of them are already retired. And I have to tell you, that's hard to handle. That is very hard to handle. Okay, so here we are. Baruch atah
Eloheinu melech haolam.
asher kirishanu
La'asot divrei Torah.
Let me just see who's here. I see Zach's. I see Stanley Davids back from Wisconsin. Rebecca,
That
Lynn,
was a fast trip.
Doris Ruvelson.
Perfect.
Will I remember next week? Merle Warner, Arthur, hi. Howard, hi. Barbara, Mara, and blank. Okay.
Blank.
Susie, okay. Cindy, Sukasa, Barbara, hi. Oh, you would like it. So I was in Wisconsin. I was almost in Minnesota. Steve Miller, Natalie, Rhonda without a picture. Roy, Jim, Roxy, you're early, Jim. What's the matter? I mean, it's good to see you. Eric, Donna. Okay, we are all here, and it's good to be here.
Elena, too.
I have to get into, oh, Donna, hi. Oh, we're shifting I don't shift gears as rapidly as I used to. Okay, there will be shofar blowing. Mitch Dorf will be here at around 10 o'clock. We're going to have shofar blowing to wrap up our study. And Mitch, having learned how to do it with us, next Shabbos, he'll be doing it over at the big place with all those other people. So that's fine.
Very nice.
This evening is Slichot. Risa and I will be at Irmus, and we're going to be doing Slichot outside. So it should be good. I don't have the timing, but I think it starts with a reception at 7 and the service.
Reception at 6, service at 7.
I was just testing to see if you're awake. Reception at 6 and the actual service. Steve said something weird last night. Bring your cell phones and get ready to read a QR code. I don't know how that connects to Slichot, but that's what I was told.
He said there's a surprise.
It's a surprise. So Slichot is tonight. This coming Friday evening, September 15th, is Erev Rosh Hashanah. So instead of our usual couple of hundred people, there will be a few hundred people more. Okay. Note, there will be no Chevra Torah a week from today. It's just not possible to do. It just
Okay.
no Chevra Torah this coming week. I would mention September 16th, second day Rosh Hashanah. I'm not going to show any favoritism, but I like second day Rosh Hashanah
Yes.
because the only people who are there are people who want to be there. They want to be at second day Rosh Hashanah, and it's somebody's clacking.
It's Howard. Can you mute?
You're clacking?
It was Howard.
Oh, okay. Don't clack.
By it's September 17th.
That's the 16th. What's
Oh.
the 17th?
16th is first day, 17th is the second day.
Oh, the second day. Oh.
Yeah, correct. So 17th, second day Rosh Hashanah, and it's going to be fun. So I like that. What did this say? Maya Levin says to everyone, September 16th is also Stanley's daughter's birthday. That's Aviva. Okay. So
Happy
thank you,
birthday.
Maya. And I guess Maya is back in wherever, Philadelphia, wherever she is. Okay. So that's great. September 20th is the next current events. September 20th is the next current events, every other week forever. And then we just have set on Wednesday evening, you don't have this yet, and it's just, if you have a calendar or a piece of paper to write it down, Wednesday evening, October 11th, Wednesday evening, October 11th, which is a month from now, Leah Hockman and I are doing a joint presentation in the sukkah on the book. And so we're going to be doing all about disruptions Wednesday evening, October 11th. I will be ordering some books, and if you want to buy them at that time, that is permitted. But anyway, this is a new announcement, October 11th. Cindy, what's happening?
Tuesday night, we're having girls' night out, happy hour, El Cholo at 5 o'clock. All females are welcome. October 1st, the announcement went out on Thursday, and hopefully we'll start being in the Wilshire Weekly. We're having happy hour in the Sukkah with a cantorial concert, and hope you'll all join us there.
This coming Tuesday, where is it going to be, Cindy?
El Cholo.
Where?
El Cholo, it's at 11.
Oh, El
in
Cholo.
Wilshire.
Oh, it's that. Oh,
The announcement the email just went out.
okay. Thank you.
Okay. The cantorial concert is going to be wonderful, absolutely wonderful, and in the sukkah, so that's great. So we're going to have a couple of really, really important sukkah events this time. First and foremost, Sisterhood is doing the cantorial concert, and then we're going to have the book review thing. Jim Ruxin.
Nothing going on until next month in October. We'll have a lot of good films, but the holidays have conspired against us, and there won't be another discussion this month. Sorry.
Your
But we had
side.
a great discussion last Thursday on the Sapphires. Lots of fun.
Yep, that's what I heard. So checking in. Hi, Tamara, good to see you. We have a lovely crowd today. Not that I count. No, I never count. 1, 2, 3. You know how you count in Jewish, not 1, not 2, not 3. You know that, so that you don't violate God's rule against counting people. Okay, checking in. Anyone with something to share with us? Risa, I just see your head. I love your head, but okay. Anything anyone has to share with us? Okay, Doris Ruvelson.
Yes, my lovely granddaughter, Ella Ruvelson, Mark's daughter. She will turn 17 on the 12th, and she just got her driver's license, and she is very excited.
Well, where does she live, and where should we be careful?
She lives in Westchester, in California.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. That's good. That's very liberating for those who lose their driver's license. It is such a destructive thing, gaining a driver's license, autonomy. Anyone else, something to share? Rebecca.
I went to Stacy Warnick's memorial service at Wilshire in Koreatown. It was a lovely, lovely memorial. She has all these different groups of friends, which just shows how diverse she was in her life and the way that she approached her life. It was just beautiful. And in the end, one of her friends took her into her own home and took care of her until the very end. It was just so touching.
Wow.
That someone would do that for someone else. That was.
I'm so sorry that we just had Stacy in this group. I mean, barely before she took seriously ill. Okay, anything else? Anything else? Anything else? Okay, it is, wow, so good to see you. We're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 29, verses 9 to 14, page 1373. And what I'm doing, this Cedra, you know I'm in love with Deuteronomy, right? I mean, it's just like week after week, I say things like, boy, what a great Cedra, great verses, great everything. Well, this Cedra is actually a combined Cedra. It's two shorter Cedras combined into one. And that's so that it all works out that by the time we get to Simchat Torah, we will have finished where we need to be. Now, we're on page 1373, and this is going to be read during the High Holy Days. This is a terribly familiar passage. We all know it, so I want to look at it. 1373, 9 to 14. Okay, do we have a volunteer reader? 9 to 14. Verses 9 to 14 once. Verses 9 to 4. I'm going to call somebody. If you don't volunteer, I'm dying here. Okay, quietly. Okay, Donna, thank you. I browbeat you into volunteering. Thank you.
You stand this day, all of you, before the eternal your God, your tribal heads, your elders, and your officials, all the men of Israel. You children, you women, even the stranger within your camp, from woodchopper to water drawer, to enter into the covenant of the eternal your God, which the eternal your God is concluding with you this day with its sanctions, in order to establish you this day as God's people, and in order to be your God, as promised you and as sworn to your fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I make this covenant with its sanctions, not with you alone, but with those who are standing here and us this day before the eternal our God, and with those who are not with us here this day.
Okay, first of all, the Hebrew word chidush is like innovative new thing, a chidush, right? So every once in a while, all the great scholars revel in doing a chidush, something which has never been heard or seen before. I am going to offer a chidush, which I never heard before, and I'm sure 1,000 other people have discovered. What is the name of the first of the two Cedras for this week? Nitzavim. Nitzavim. The second one, it's actually a very small Cedra, and that we combine, is Vayelech. What does Nitzavim mean? Look what it says. You stand, Nitzavim, you are standing upright. And what does Vayelech mean? Those who know Hebrew use the Standard International walking. Yes, Vayelech. And I suddenly discovered as I was getting ready for our meeting today Nitzavim and Vayelach. You got to stand upright and then you go. So I just did that, and you may decide to put that in a book. Remember to spell my name correctly. Really, that is fun. Nitzavim Vayelach. Stand up and go. Okay? And then I can deliver. I already have formulated an entire sermon on why you have to be standing upright before you can go forward. Okay, but I just had fun. Okay, now you stand this day, all of you, before the eternity of God. Now there's a list. The list is a list in terms of priority. Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to be saying several things in the next couple of minutes, which will make some of you want to throw things at me. I will point out that if you throw things at your computer, you won't hit me, you'll break your computer. Okay, here we go. This is in order of priority. So it says, Roshechem Shiftechem, and the standard way to translate that is the heads of all of your tribes. The heads of your tribes. So to take the two words, put them together. So who's going to come stand before God? First of all, the heads of the tribes. Secondly, the elders. I wish it meant anyone above the age of 80, and I would have a significant place in that list. But the term elders here is understood to be shoftim, judges, the judges, okay? So the first is the political heads, the second, the judges, the next, okay, shotrechem. It says officials, doesn't tell us anything. Officials, what does that mean? The rabbinic commentators say these are the people who enforce the decisions of the judges. It's a very nice thing. They're the enforcers of the Bate Din. That's what the commentators say. So apparently, there were people who didn't abide by the decisions of courts. I've never heard of such a thing, but they had enforcers who went out and did that. And then all the men. I'm already getting some sneery faces. Then it goes on. Your children. Ibn Ezra wants to make it clear. These are the male children. Easy, we're being friends here. These are the male children. So in order of priority, tribal heads, judges, the police for the courts, all the men, male children, and women. I think that's nice. That's good. And then this strange category, even the stranger within your camp, from wood chopper to wood drawer. Do you remember the phrase, and we got this out of the book of Exodus, the Erev Rav, the mixed multitude, that when the Israelites left Egypt, they were joined by groups of Egyptians who, for whatever reason, wanted to get out. My understanding of it is, if you really look at it, the Erev Rav is much more likely to be other groups of captured people who used the occasion to break out of Egypt with the Israelites. But there was a mixed multitude. And one of the reasons why I love to talk about the mixed multitude is to put a kibosh. I have no idea what that means, but to put a kibosh on people who say we are a race. From day one, we were mixed with other peoples. From day one, leaving Egypt, we had a mixed multitude in our group, and eventually over generations, they will be absorbed and marry in, and that's totally fine. Now, there's something else here. The Israelites are right at the edge of the border of Canaan. This is where Moses is going to die. The rabbis imagined that this force of more than 2 million Israelites, not my number, gathered at the border of Canaan. Tribal people from the area, call them Canaanites, but that's really, like a big cover term, joined the Israelites as well. And the rabbis point out, we're never going to get to this. In the book of Joshua, some of the Canaanites who joined the Israelites proved to be deceptive and tried to injure the Jewish people from within. Why is this interesting? First of all, because I said it. Secondly, it's interesting because it's one of the things that's used to cast doubt on converts. That the Canaanites joined and then they were unreliable. I do not read the Torah and Joshua that way, but what we have, a constant issue with some rabbis who viewed converts with serious questions. And they tried to find ways in the sacred text to back up their position. This is a terribly tiny minority thing, but it exists, okay? There always are those. As a matter of fact, not that I do politics here, and not that I'm interested in what's going on in Israel, but in the Netanyahu coalition, they are pushing now to pass a resolution that if your grandparents were the Jews and you weren't, or one grandparent was a Jew and you weren't, you don't get admitted under the law of return. Right now, they do. And the point of it sounds so obscure, is to cut down out of the people anyone who isn't pure according to the ultra-Orthodox. It's kind of arcane. Did you follow me on that? That there have always been those in our community who viewed people who were not born into their Jewish identities with suspicion. And right now, they're sitting in the governing coalition in Israel. This group, when I was on the board of governors of the Jewish Agency, one of the best committees I served on was the Jewish Identity Committee. It was terrific because the chair of the agency chaired that committee, and we always had top-notch issues. One of the things that we established was a conversion program in the Israeli army. What was established was permission for soldiers to step aside from their military training and attend conversion classes. That's about as much as you can do to make it possible if they want to do it. These were many people, Russian Jews, whatever. We set this up and it was good. And I visited the classes. young guys, right? 18, 19, 20, mostly guys, some women, getting ready to convert to Judaism, and the army was facilitating it. That program was just shut down. The whole idea of making it easy for not halakhically Jewish young adults to convert to Judaism troubled some of the people in the governing coalition. What am I going to say? That's what it is. Steve, you have your hand up and you've been patient.
This verse, which isn't at Sinai, talks about people being there who are not there. I thought you told us the only time all of us were together was at Sinai, and that we were not also at the river with Moses.
This comment, which is a powerful comment, verse 14, includes those who will be joining Judaism through conversion.
Oh, well, wait a minute.
I lost you, Steve. The screen jumped and you're no longer. Steve, where are you?
I'm here.
You may be here, but you're not here. No, I found you. Okay. So Steve, that verse is used to say, and I do this every time I officiate at a conversion, we were standing together and we entered the covenant together. It's a powerful, useful verse. Now, the statement also was that they stood at Sinai. But even from Sinai till this point, there were 40 years of children being born and more people and more people. And in the Talmud, it says, you're driving me to think, Steve, which I was not ready to do. In the Talmud, it says that a teacher is like a parent. The people you teach are like your children. And that's a beautiful image, a powerful image. So that from this verse, we can look 1,000 years ahead to rabbis teaching whomever. And those people they are teaching become swept up in the covenant. Did I answer your question?
Not exactly. I guess they're swept up in the covenant, but unlike Sinai, they weren't there. I was not at Mount Nebo, but I was at Sinai. Or was I at Mount Nebo also?
Yeah, I want you to check your passport. Though Mount Nebo is in Jordan today, check your passport. You were there. Because
Okay.
what's going on, Steve, is another covenant. There are several covenants established. This is another covenant opportunity. Okay? So this is again signing on with the people. And yes, you were there. As a matter of fact, I remember you were reclining on a bench in the back.
Well, actually, does Petra count?
Okay, I saw Natalie's hand was up. No, I thought you were waving. Or you're just being friendly. Okay. Okay, Eric.
Okay.
It was up.
As a former union member, the original founders of the union contract signed it, but whoever joins the company had to sign the union membership card. That's what is it like it's like the second signing of the covenant. We just it's just a renewal of your contract, renewal of our vows. I think it is. And
well, that's fun.
like we have to affirm the collective bargaining agreement.
What?
Yeah. Renewal of vows. Have any of you taken part in like a renewal of a wedding vow? Have you taken part in that? People do that, and it's meaningful. It's meaningful. And a union vow, when we pledge allegiance, what do you think those words really mean? It's a renewal. It's a renewal of a commitment. We pledge allegiance. Wait a second, why you don't have to pledge allegiance? You did that already. Well, I'm renewing. We're going to go forward here. Verse 11 makes it very clear. So all the kids, everyone, and la'avracha bivrit Adonai Elohecha, to bring you into the covenant. Brit, the covenant. Over and over again, we have covenantal moments. And this is going to be one of those. By the way, in the previous line, it talks about everyone, even the stranger, from the wood chopper to the water drawer. I've never used drawer that way. They're the bottom of the social heap. The bottom of the social heap. And they're probably not by origin Israelites. And they're part of the covenant. I have a question to ask. This is a list of the elites in priority order, starting with the tribal heads. Someone want to venture what the list of elites is in America today? If you had to put a list of 4 or 5 names or groups, the highest, most important, next 3, 4, how would you make that list? How would you create that list? What would be at the top of, in America, the top of the list? Rebecca.
Well, I would put the president, the vice president. Who comes next after the vice president? A senator, right? Head of the Senate.
Speaker of the House.
Actually, it's the Speaker of the House.
Of the House.
Yeah. I'm not quite
Yeah.
sure what that is, but that's the people's leader. Yeah, the speaker. So you'd go the political route, a president, vice president, Speaker of the House, representatives, senators, governors. Those are the elite of our day.
Right, because we have separation of church and state. So I
Okay.
don't know religious leaders I would put in there.
Okay, but we can broaden it to, power in society. Someone else want to offer their list of okay, Harv?
Okay, I would say it's influencers, however you want to define influencers, from people in show business to people with wealth who speak out, to people who give money to charities, people who influence society. That's what I would say.
I agree with Harv.
That would be at the top, you say? The influencers. Interesting. Okay, do we have, Sukasa, is that your hand up? No, okay. You're just waving.
That's me, Rabbi. I was just going to agree with Harv. It's the influencers. I think it's people who donate to charity, make an example to women's rights,
Influencers. Okay,
influence.
does anyone have anything? Steve?
I think even before the influencers, because for the influencers to have effect, they need hardcore followers to do what they're doing. I actually think the most influential people right now are the venture capitalists, because they control what happens in the economy and society. They have the money that really dictates and spend the money where things will happen.
Thank you. Oh, Cindy?
I think one thing to consider is whose deaths are noted in the news. So it's politicians, entertainers, influencers, heads of corporations. So those are the people I think that would be counted first.
I was smiling. I'm just, it's kind of hard to wait until you're dead before you get listed as a powerful person. But yes, okay. I mean, the New York Times.
But that includes Charles Manson, Cindy.
His death would be noted.
This is Maya's mother. She's filling in for today.
Whose mother is that?
Maya. This is Aviva.
I'm their daughter.
The daughter.
Hi, Aviva.
Hi, Aviva.
This is our little.
Hi, Viva.
That's enough.
Well, but I know these people.
Yes, I know.
All from Mine is on, but she's.
She was our speaker at Sukkot last year. So she met lots of us.
Yes, she was.
Can we get back into who are the most
No.
the people who would be? Larry, what's on your list?
So I'm sorry for being either naive or idealistic or whatever, but I agree that all of the people mentioned have power in our society, but all of them, except possibly the venture capitalists, but even them to some extent, derive their power from the mass of the people. So while it's not one particular individual in our society, it's the people who go on top of the list, and everybody else is supported and empowered by them.
I'm gonna just ask you, let no one else listen. Larry, are you communist?
Yes, no, no, I'm not. I'm a classic liberal Democrat.
Okay. All right. That's
Yay.
You know what? Would that what you said was the way it really worked. I see Merle, then Mara, then we're going to go on.
Was it Steve that listed the venture capitalists? I think it was. I want to say I really agree with that, not having thought of it before, because I have family that are venture capitalists in New York, and they got stuff done during COVID for the restaurant workers and other areas of employment that nobody else even made an effort to do. And they really helped the situation and helped to keep people in business, etc. So I agree with that.
Okay, super. And then last is Mara.
I think it's significant that no one mentioned clergy.
I was hoping somebody would.
So I mentioned that both in jest and also that it's significant that no one has mentioned clergy in terms of influencing society.
Excuse me, your statement was you mentioned clergy only in jest?
No.
I am very sensitive. You can't do that. Okay. Yeah, but maybe 100 years ago, maybe whatever, that would have been a major category of influence in society.
I think it's also, though, a significant loss for society. And I think that one of the problems with our society is that clergy aren't present enough in the national conversation.
Don't let me stop you. Go ahead, Mara. Continue. Okay. I vote for Mara. Absolutely. Okay, Natalie, did you have your hand up?
Yes, I do
What
have
do you
something to
think?
say
Okay.
about that I was going to say before. And no one has mentioned parents of families, of the future children. To me, what it says here, those who are not with us this day, to me, it possibly means the future generations of these people who are going to go into Israel in the beginning. And if the parents do not teach the children and the parents do not have the influence of continuing on this covenant with the future generation, then it goes nowhere, that how important all of that is.
I think that's great. Natalie and I, thank you. Thank
Okay.
you for that comment. I want to look at verse 11 and to enter into the covenant of the eternal God, which eternal God is concluding with you this day, with its sanctions. Sanctions are penalties. According to the way Judaism understands what's going on right now, we are in covenant with God, right? The Hebrew word for covenant is what?
Breach.
Brit.
Great.
Brit. Sometimes loosely in old Ashkenazic Hebrew, bris. Brit. It is the covenant, entering into the covenant. And the covenant is a contract with penalties. So it isn't all, oh, we're in covenant with God. We are in covenant with God. And if we screw up, we will pay the price. And sometimes we forget that. The covenant remains only as long as you, Susie, as long as you keep the agreements. And if you and you and you and me and whatever break the agreements, the covenant is broken. The covenant does not exist unchallenged by your behavior. You got to pay a penalty. Okay, in verse 11, the rabbis pick up on something here, which the eternal your God is concluding with you this day, ha-yom, ha-yom. And the rabbis say, ha-yom is every day forever. That's a very interesting twist. I had not encountered that before as I was trying to get ready for today. Every single day is a day of renewal, and it continues forever. The only thing that breaks it is if we stop caring. That's a very heavy burden. We are in permanent covenant for the rest of today. And tomorrow, we are expected to renew that covenant. If we do that, it lasts forever. It lasts forever. Okay? We're going to move off of this. We're going to, I make this covenant with its sanctions, not with you alone, with those who are standing here and those who are yet to be. The covenant is both theological and biological. Someone try to explain what I just said. The covenant is both theological and biological. What does that mean? Okay, I see Steve. Steve's got it.
There are many who believe that we carry the memories of our genetic ancestors within our genes. And so it's, maybe it used to be somewhat hypothetical. I actually think now there may be some scientific evidence of that. So it's not only those who join us, but we carry some of this with us.
We just have to be very wary about that, Steve, because if someone joins.
I'm not diminishing that. I'm just saying that genetic memory may be a real thing. That's not to the exclusion or supportive of discrimination. It's just maybe a scientific fact.
Okay, interesting. Yes, please. What do I say? I see Donna Shapiro. Hi, Donna.
Hi, Aviva.
Okay.
Well, biologically, you could say the circumcision is a biological aspect of the covenant. And also physically, you physically have to carry out the mitzvot. Your body has to do that, as opposed to just the concept of it in your head that you commit to theologically.
Belonging to the Jewish people is a complicated, significant issue. And how do we get to be a part of that? Thank you for that. I want to move on just because it's interesting. Just because it's interesting. Let's look at Deuteronomy 29:28. 29:28. These are just fun things that I chose. Would you please look at the Hebrew just for the fun of it? Would you please look at the Hebrew? Anyone notice anything? You don't have to read Hebrew. Any of you notice? Donna, excuse me. Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Cindy, yes.
There are markings over one of the words, little asterisks or something.
Yeah, it's more than one word, right?
Okay, but especially one word.
Yeah, Olavanenu. And if there's an asterisk, and you can look down below, and I'm going to show off by reading the Hebrew that was asterisked down below, okay? Please notice, I can read this. Echad me'asara makomot b'Torah shebahem nikud miyuchad al ha'ot. This is one of the 10 places in the Torah that there is a unique vocalization on a letter. 10 times in the Torah, something happens and we get all those dots. What does that mean? What does it say here? Concealed acts concern the eternal our God, but overt acts, it is for us and our children ever to apply all the provision of the Torah. No one knows, obviously. This is one of these weird moments in the writing of the Torah. All of a sudden, you come across a verse and two of the words are dotted all over the place. Hidden things belong to the Lord our God, and the revealed things are for us and for our children forever to do, all the words of this Torah. There is a dichotomy set up here. What's the dichotomy? Really important. What's the dichotomy? You have two categories.
What God knows and what we're allowed to know.
Okay, and Donna?
What you do when nobody's watching versus what you do when everyone's watching. But you do when no one's watching you to call you to account. God is watching you. God sees it. And if it has to do with being out there in the world, that's our job to enforce.
How do you feel about that? This is a very popular, well-known verse. How do you feel about that? That concealed acts are God's business, overt acts, that's up to us and that's up to our society. What does that mean to you? Is that real?
I think it has to be a partnership.
Okay, see, I want to do it by hands only because I'm so easily confused. Okay, I see Merle, then I see Steve.
I think it has to be a partnership between us or individuals and God. I don't think you can hide things, because if you hide things, then you can't do what you're expected to do.
Steve?
I'm guessing.
Actually, I had a different question, so if you want to finish this first, I will wait.
I prepared this for hours and hours and hours and hours. So we'll get to your point, I promise. Can we be punished for our thoughts? Can we be punished for intentions we don't act upon?
Jimmy Carter thought so.
Pardon?
Jimmy Carter thought so.
Yeah. Concealed acts are God's business. What is that saying? Hanis Tarot, but that's what it is. Hidden things, Satir, the secret things, are God's business. The Niglot, that's our business. What is that saying to us as Jews, as people, as children of God? I'm going to get a few more people in there, Stephen. I'm going to kind of like take away the comfort of knowing that you're there. What does it mean?
May I say something, Rabbi? I think that means that we live our lives by Torah, and God sees everything, hears everything, and there's nothing really hidden. But the secret thing, that's God's sacred, whatever God's plan is. I think he reveals that to those who are really close to him.
Okay. What does it mean to you? What does it mean, the concealed and the revealed? Concealed belongs to God. Okay, I see Howard.
I wasn't familiar with this before, but my reaction to it is that I'm very annoyed. I find it very annoying that this is something that really is very important, but it's written in a sort of very obscure and probably even garbled way, because those dots probably mean that there's something that was left out, or there's something,
What do you feel is left out here?
I don't know. How do I know it was left out? But this thing could mean anything. It has not anything, but it has multiple meanings. Are we talking about idol worship? Are we talking about things that people as individuals do in secret? Are we talking about things that the sins that the Jewish people will commit in the future? There's many different possible interpretations. So what I hear from people here is that they're all seeing in it an affirmation of whatever comes into their head themselves. They think it means.
So I'd like to quote one of the great Jewish teachers of all times. No, I'm not speaking about myself in this case. That was not a joke. I am speaking about Jesus. Jesus said, everyone who looks at a woman with lustful intent has already committed adultery within their heart.
Right. Well, it's Jimmy Carter again.
Yep, that's old Jimmy Carter, quoting Matthew 5:28, in case anyone is curious to check up on that. How does Judaism feel about assigning sin to thoughts which are not acted upon? All right, Tamara, step forward and redeem this.
No, Judaism judges on what you do, not what your intention is or what you think. So we're not Christians. We don't follow Jesus. So, yeah.
I agree with Tamara.
Well, I mean, you can't. She's agreeing with Jewish traditions. I mean, it's a big category. Yeah. So, and it's very important, Howard, just to hear that comment. We don't go around punishing people for their thoughts. That we leave in God's hands. And that's a very important way. the statement, everyone who looks at a woman with lustful intent has committed. Do you know how many male adulterers we now have? And just, if you want to draw up a list of people you think are male adulterers, send it to me. I'll publish it. No, I won't. No, I won't do that. But to sin in your heart with no action is not a Jewish phenomenon, is not a Jewish perspective. If you want to get punished for adultery, go out and commit it. No, that's wrong. But I mean, you know what I mean, right? I mean, you got to do it. Let's move forward. We're running short, unfortunately, of time. I see Steve and then Mara Harvey.
I think that what happens in secret really means that you have to internalize the teachings of Judaism, and so that you act properly, whether or not any other human being will ever know. That's different than being punished for your thoughts. It's still your deeds, but we all know there are deeds for which people commit that are wrong and they never get caught. They're still wrong, and you need to govern your life by what you've internalized from God.
Super, thank you. Mara Harv.
So for me, this speaks to the importance of a constant and continual relationship with God so that we understand as much as is possible what is expected of us. So from that perspective, what we think is equally as important as what we do, because it's part of that relationship. And I'm thinking now of the I-you relationship as Martin Buber describes it.
Okay, so, but it's different. When we offend against God, that's not for a civil or a religious court to handle. That's for God to handle. And that's a really important thing. I saw one or two more hands. We're running short on time. Okay, yes, please. All right, what do we have, Sukasa? Yes.
I was just going to say that I think that also your intent when you perform certain actions is as important as the action. Example, if you do something for somebody because somebody's watching you, that really isn't as meaningful as if you do it because in your heart you want to do it.
You know, thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you. Do you know Ibn Ezra, one of the great commentators, joined in and said this: there are people who worship idols in secret, and there are people who worship idols in public. The people who worship idols in public are to be punished in public. But people who worship idols privately, that's between the person and God. Does that make sense to you? That's a big separation. It's saying your intention in your private room is between you and God. What you do in public is a business of the community. We have a very, very, very close friend who lives in India, and she is married to a major figure in the Mumbai Reform Jewish community. So he is married to a Hindu. Given the nature of Indian society, without conversion, she is totally accepted within the Jewish community. She's married to a Jewish man, and in Indian society, the man's status is dominant. I happen to think that's a good idea, but that's just, you know, that's in India. I hope I survived today. Our friend who lives a totally Jewish life and has reared proud Jewish kids keeps a little display of Hindu gods on her dresser. And we stayed there for a few days once. It's the only reason, you know, I'm always walking around looking for gods. And there they were on the dresser. Hi, gods, many hands, strange looking things, gods. Jewish tradition would say that's between her and God. That is nothing which is public. If she were to have a dinner party and put her gods on the table, that's a different ballgame. Does that separation make sense to you? That how you live your public life is different and regarded differently. My minion of feet, what? Tamara sent something to me. What did you send, Tamara? I was in the middle of giving this great speech. No, I shouldn't. Okay. Woo. Okay, I'm not going to pay attention. But I do know that there are some Jewish people who, with great wisdom, carry around or have available some images of gods not our own. And it's fun to be in contact with them. Don't do it in public. It's a major, major difference. We're going to have to stop. This verse is really important. How we act in public is the most significant thing. It is significant how we feel and think privately, but that's between us and God. That's the Jewish take on this issue. It's a very interesting thing. And, you know, we're going to have to go on. We're going to be joined, I think, in a moment by Mitch, who is going to give us our last occasion for shofar blowing. So that's going to be coming up in a quick second. I am going to start Kaddish, and when Mitch joins us, we will stop immediately. We mentioned, let's see, when Steve,
No.
huh?
It's just a comment about the.
No, I want to see Steve Miller, who always makes comments to fix me. He says, if you have a figure of God as a work of art, that's different from, you know what, Steve? In an Orthodox home, that would not be a given. Okay? That would not be a given. In my life, I have seen people with collections of all kinds of statues and idols, and it's just something to look at the handiwork. Beautiful. But, okay, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mitch Dorf, our shofar blowing for the last days of the month of Elul. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How's everyone doing here?
Pretty good.
Nice discussion this week.
Absolutely. And someday, even if you're not uniquely invited, you are warmly invited to join us. Absolutely. This is a great group of people. Now, we're going to hear shofar from you. This will be our last time before next weekend, which is, you'll be working with your son.
Or tonight. Come tonight or stream tonight.
Oh, yeah, I'll be there tonight. Okay. So I'll see you tonight at Slichot.
We'll get a whole 30 call. I think we do a third of it, so we'll see. I'm trying to remember. We haven't done it much with the new Machzor with us alone, so we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Anyway.
So you blow through the small end and the sound comes out the big end.
That's right there. And I talked a bunch about my son, and we'll just kind of go for it, and we'll hope to see everyone tonight, maybe, if not next Saturday, at one of the two main sanctuary services. And everyone's invited for second day at Irmis on Sunday.
I was promoting that. I think that the second day service is great. Okay.
You know what Rabbi Leader says? He said this. He said, "That's when the real Jews show up." Second day.
I love it.
I'm unemployed. I can't afford to be judgmental.
I had original. I forget what was original audio. Anyway, hope this works. Let me know if it doesn't. So we're good. Oh, we freeze.
Are you not blowing? What are you doing with that?
No, I'm gonna blow. I was just looking at the original audio. Do you want to call or want me to just blow?
I'm going to call.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to call, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Tekiah. Barim Teruah. Tekiah. Now, Mitch, if you promise not to tell Steve.
Yes.
Just between us, no one else is listening. Could you give us a hint as to what a Tekiah Gedolah might sound like?
Sure. Something like that.
Wow. Woo.
Wow.
But when my son and I do it together, it's even more grand. So, Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom, and thank you
Shalom.
so much. Thank you
Shalom.
so much.
Bye.
Absolutely. See you tonight, Rabbi.
Yeah, we'll be there tonight. Okay, now I'm going to read the Kaddish list. We'll do Kaddish and conclude. Okay, we're running late, but there we go. Those who have passed away during the past month: Selma Bell, Rachel Blackman, Rachel Bat Naftali Vitzipora, Derek Brown, William Friedkin, David Green, Elaine Gumpert, Eric Jonathan Hammermesh, Marshall Klein, Jim Cussick, Laura Mandela, Robert Bob Miller, Enid Reeser, Jerome Jerry Schwartz, Joan Shaffron, Stanley Simon, Gerald Norman Touche, Stacy Wernick, Judy Wunsch. And the following, the anniversaries of whose death yortsites occurred during this past week. Marietta Bach, Rita Taffer-Valiant, Sarah Beaumont, Francis Broidy, Mildred Chains, Ruth Cheslow, Lawrence Chiswick, Joan Cohn, Raphael Cohn, Sid Coleman, Beverly Cooperman, Stephen O'Connor, Ruth Epstein, David Flansbaum, Samuel Fleischman, Barbara Flicker, Joseph Fogarty, Elsie Fogelman, Sam Foreman, Milton Fox, Robert Friedman, Fred First, Samuel Galper, Ethel Geffner, Michelle Goldberg, Glenn Goldstein, Grace Gottlieb, Irving Grauer, Gloria Gray, Ronald Hirschhorn, Joseph Hurwitz, Dale Cass, Jack Caston, Russell Kavanaugh, John Kim, Mark Klein, Irene Krell, Lisa Beth Laxer, Colin Leaves, Helen Levin, Cynthia Levine, Barbara Lewis, Lorraine Lowy, Howard Lynn, Saeed Mahani, Danny Mendel, Michael Matt, Jared Morris, Larissa Moravina, Phil Pachowski, Monera Pileski, Leah Phillips, Harold Pike, Stephen Plager, James Rhodes, Michael Robbins, Jane Rothschild Mayer, Stephen Rubenstein, Loretta Safro, Margit Schoenberger, Pascal Schwartz, Leah Serlin, Leon Sharp, Philip Silver, Millicent Small, Lucille Small, Florence Solomon, Bobby Solomon, Ann Spielberg, Jonathan Spound, Douglas Stein, Sylvia Stock, Eva Teichholz, Shirley Turtle, Susan Washington, Chaiki Walensky, Bennett Wolf, Philip Zivitz. If there are other names to be mentioned, I ask that you speak their names aloud now.
Mendel Shohan.
Jimmy
Thank-
Buffett.
We bear in mind as well the names of all of those who died in defense of the state of Israel. We bear in mind as well the names of all of those who died in defense of the United States of America. We bear in mind as well those who died through the acts of senseless terror. And we mention in our hearts those for whom there is no one to say Kaddish. We join together. Yitgadal
Kadash,
Shemei Rabbah Bialma Avra Pirite Biamrit Malachute B'chaye Yomekom V'chaye Dechol Beit Yisrael Ba'ala Zman Kaviv Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba B'Barach Le'olam Le'omei Maya Yitbarach Shtabach Ba'ar V'yitromam V'yitaseh V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitaleh Shemei D'Kudishah La'ela means Birchata Tush B'chata Amen. Yehei Shlama Abba Shmin Shemaya V'chayim Aleinu El Kol Yisrael Yimru Amen. Osef Shalom B'Romav Hu Yah
Shalom.
Aleinu El Kol Yisrael Yimru Amen. May God, who makes peace in the high places, make peace in our hearts, make peace in our homes, make peace in the household of Israel, make peace among all the families and nations of earth, and let us say, Amen.
Amen.
This coming Shabbat, tonight, first of all, is Slichot. We'll be there. It's coming Friday evening, Saturday and Sunday, Rosh Hashanah. We won't meet as a class. May I just, at the end of our session in the year 5783, may I just thank you for the beauty of your presence and the privilege of working through Torah text with you. Thank you very, very much. Shabbat
thank you.
shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Amazing. Shana Tova. Yeah.
Shana Tova.
Shabbat shalom.
Maya, thank you, Maya.
So much. Thank you, Maya.
You are.
Bye, Maya.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you. Thank you, Rabbi.
Very much. Love you guys. Thank you.
Love you back.